Jane Ann, you look very nice.
He's getting there.
We'll see if I come in.
Where's your
There's
picture,
Becky.
Ricky?
I
Hi,
don't
Becky.
know. It's too ugly to be on there.
Have you got a sweater on, Becky?
Look at that, baby.
Ooh,
Oh,
Richmond Red Devil.
that's my pride and joy for the year.
Okay, okay. Is it freezing down there?
No, it's just damp.
Okay, yeah, damp and ugly. Yeah.
Yeah. The neighbor came across the street today and she says, "Is it foggy out?" You couldn't see up the street. I mean,
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
yeah, it's foggy.
It's foggy.
Hello, everybody.
I've got one of those. Hey, Jimmy.
Now, where in the heck is Ricky put off?
He's
I'm
in-
up there in the corner.
Oh, there he is. Rick was the first one on.
yeah, it's a record.
Yeah. It's because I'm
We are
asleep.
recording. Okay, we're recording. Okay. good.
Hey, guys.
All right.
Jane's not coming.
Hey there.
Look at this. See, even that is Richmond. Look at that. Richmond Red Devil. I'm into it today.
At least I have red on. That's about all I can say.
Yeah, right.
Hulk and I were working on his music, and we were trying to figure out how, if we could get into I have a separate email account set up for when we do the big reunions.
Hmm.
And it's RHS, no, wait a minute, yeah,
It's RHS.
class 63 RHS@gmail.com. And so we had all kinds of trouble getting into it. We had to come up with a new password. So it's Red Devils 63. And so
Awesome.
we came up with that. And then when we did it, I thought, I think I'll just put on Red Devils today. So anyway,
Okay.
so there you
Okay,
go.
we got a new kitty coming to call to
Yeah.
eat.
This is the ancient one. He talks and talks and talks.
Yeah, we have one like that too. He's awake, he talks. I thought maybe once we caught him, we'd send him down to you. And his name is, I've named him Stinky Pete.
Oh my gosh.
Don't ask me.
This one is Abby.
Abby, oh, she looks like a sweetheart.
She is until she talks.
Yeah,
Vicky, I didn't, wait a minute. Oh, that's a dog. That
That's
is a
a dog.
dog.
Yeah, no,
Wait,
I've got 3 dogs and they always like to be held when I'm doing something else.
yeah.
Yep. Oh,
Just
yeah.
like kids.
Uh-huh.
So now Jane Harlan,
Yes.
where is Chandler? Chandler, Arizona.
Chandler is south of Phoenix,
Okay.
about an hour to get there from my house.
Okay.
Well, I've been trying to find the obituary on Doug Allen. Do any of you remember seeing him at the 50th?
Yes, I think so.
Do you
I don't.
remember what he looked like?
If I'm thinking of the right person, I do.
Okay, what did he look like then? Because I'm probably thinking of the wrong person.
You want me to go get my
You look like an
Pyarian?
old Doug Allen.
Oh, I remember what Doug Allen looked like back then.
Yeah,
Oh,
but not
oh,
now.
I met
Oh.
somebody at the 50th. I think it was the 50th. And
I'm almost sure he was there.
and I was thinking it was Doug Allen, but I mean, he looked totally different.
Well, yeah.
I mean, but I mean
Well,
really
yeah,
different. Like he
totally
had
different.
a beard and he wild hair. He looked like this absent-minded professor. And he says, "Yeah, I'm a scientist and I work in, I don't know, some kind of crazy stuff for the government and all this kind of stuff." But it must not have been Doug Allen. I don't remember who it was.
Hmm.
I didn't write all that stuff down that I should have, but I was too busy doing other stuff. And it may not have been the 50th. I don't know.
No idea.
But anyway, so
Was
we
the
finally.
50th at the Leland? Whatever was at the Leland was the one he was at.
That wasn't the
Oh, man, that was a
50th.
long time ago.
Yeah, that was maybe
That was the
30.
last time I remember.
Okay.
Which
yeah.
one that was that our 35th?
That was
I don't know.
88.
It was in 88.
Yeah, it's the last one I went to.
In 88, Jim, shame
That
on
would have
you.
been 25.
Whoop.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that,
You.
yeah.
So Bob Van Pelt,
Hey, Bobby Van Pelt.
Hey,
Bob, you thanked me for getting that obituary on Larry Hogg, but Jane Ann's the one who finally did it.
Took me about a minute and a half.
How did you find it?
Just Googled
Oh,
and then
Yeah.
looked at what the info was, and the first one I picked out was the right one.
But,
Wow.
I think that came from his church. It didn't come from,
Yeah,
It
it
came
sounded
from the
like.
funeral home.
oh, was it the funeral?
Yeah, it was funeral home. Yeah.
So I'm trying to find Doug Allen. I
So
can't-
I'll find that when we're
Wait-
done
waiting
here.
room. Wait a minute, Harvey's trying to get in, Gene's trying to get in. There you go. Okay. So,
Yes.
anyway, I'm hoping that we don't have a lot more of this stuff going on now that, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess we should expect it, but anyway,
Mhm.
but,
I-
and then when I sent out oh, by the way, on that thing I sent out yesterday, if you tried to look at that or tried to find that video on the best car ad,
Didn't work.
it didn't work. And I tried to send it out separately and it still wouldn't work. It's too big. It lasts almost 5 minutes.
It's too big for Tom's machine, but it's not for mine.
Yeah, I'll have to have Janie send it
But I
out.
can't get it from him, so.
But it's a Mercedes-Benz commercial. And it's about the original Benz wife, who was really the one who was the pioneer with automobiles.
Huh.
A really cool commercial. So I have to get it. My brother Jim Keeler always sends me all that stuff. Okay, you're letting them in? Okay, good. Let's see, there was something else I was going to tell you. Oh, Larry Ogle. So
Yeah.
that obituary,
Yeah.
I thought, and man, for those, let's see, Tom, you were in Vietnam. Rick, were you there?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I was.
So, you know what it was like to be a door gunner on one of those helicopters.
I don't know what.
That was a
it like. I
very
wasn't
dangerous
flying
job.
a helicopter when I had him in there.
Yeah, that was dangerous. So.
Yeah.
Anyway. And I don't know if any of you, I mean, those of us who played sports would know his younger brother, Terry, who was a
Terry.
year behind us.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so that's that.
Tom, who sent you that file finally?
Mhm.
Jane Ann found it. She just went
Who
up
did?
there. Jane Ann Googled it.
I just found it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I know Bob was trying to find it.
I had been in contact with 3 or 4 family members of his, Tom, and they said, until his wife gives you permission, we're not gonna let that go.
No
I was
kidding.
shocked when I saw that this morning, because it just,
Yeah.
It was from the funeral home.
Yeah.
They had posted it.
So anyhow,
Anyone know anything
we
about
were
Mitchell
talking,
Ogle?
Scott
Remember him?
Porter came by earlier,
Oh, my gosh.
and Larry Ogle was actually the guy that took Terry Hines's place.
No.
that
They
took what?
subbed for each other.
He did what? Say that.
He and Terry Hines subbed for each other on that side, Tom, on my right side.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
really?
Okay.
Because I remember Terry Hines, his dad was like the superintendent of schools at the time.
Who's that?
Terry Hines. When his
Now, Terry
grandfather,
Hines' dad was a stepdad. His dad was Bob Lickenfelds.
but wasn't his
He had a butcher shop
grandfather,
on Fort Wayne Avenue.
Gene, so were you thinking it was his grandfather?
I thought Terry Hines's grandfather was like superintendent of all the Richmond schools when we were in grade school, but I might be wrong.
That would have been Paul Garrison. Would have been there. He was no
Oh,
relation to
no,
Terry
so
at
it's
all.
not, yeah, okay, I was thinking it was Mr. Hines.
Yeah, Terry's real dad was an Italian guy from Centerville, named Warren Hines, if I recall.
Hmm.
And his stepdad was Bob Lickenfelds that had the store down on Fort Wayne Avenue, the butcher shop down there by Dick Bird's house.
Right. Where's Little Sheba's is?
Yeah, exactly right. And that locker's still there. The locker's still there. The meat cutting locker is still there, one of the restrooms, I think.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Times change.
And I think the cooler storage area is right there by where you first go in. They have seats there, and they may have put seats inside it now, but at one time that was the cold storage area, like
Yep.
the freezer like.
That's it. And that was actually out of Terry's stepfather's butcher shop down there.
Mm.
Now we have to have Carol Fleming update us on her. Now, I know a number of you ladies. You don't care if I call you girls, do you?
He's leaving
No, not at
like
all.
you was
Becky
late
is
there.
young.
It doesn't sound right to say a number of you ladies. You were always girls. So a number of you girls already know about Carol Fleming's.
You look good,
Yeah,
Carol.
so Carol, you've got to give all the rest of us a rundown on how all that went. Sounds like you recovered fast.
I did. I really did. I thought it was just going to be this huge, terrible recovery, painful, and it just wasn't. It would happen quickly. It's been a month or it's been 4 weeks. And I just feel great. I can't go out and golf yet, but I feel really good.
Fabulous.
So did they have to like take out a lot of stuff or?
I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know how many inches, but they took out the sigmoid, which is the kind of the last part of the colon before it goes
Yeah.
out. And he just took out that part. He was
Wow.
he was able to do it laparoscopically, so that was why it was so easy to.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then now, do they say that once you're fully recovered, can you just like, can you eat everything? Can you get back to like normal?
I'm supposed to. I mean, you know what I miss most is popcorn.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? If that's the only thing you've got
Yeah.
to give up.
Oh,
that's good.
I gave it up for 10 years and, I got used to it. I could go to a movie and smell popcorn and eat candy.
Yeah.
Belly bellies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Carol, I'm just allergic to popcorn. I can't even eat it at all.
Oh, poor Jane.
I know it. Yeah, I can eat like 2 pieces and that's it.
Oh.
you'll have to eat-
This is kind of gross, but I missed it so much. I used to chew it and spit it out.
Oh, nothing wrong with that.
Ah,
Bye.
I know.
hey, no different than chewing tobacco.
Yeah, maybe I'll try that one.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. You can go to the show and just carry a can with you and just chew it.
Like a baseball player with tobacco, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And like a spittoon or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little late because I got to watching this All-American football game.
Oh
Oh,
my
in
goodness.
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And we have a young man from Vancouver, Tobias Merriweather, who's really good, and he's just been playing. So
Oh, cool.
I got involved with that.
Funny
Yeah.
story about Carol, a funny story about the game over there. My granddaughter, Lori's daughter, is a cosmetologist in Indianapolis.
Mhm.
And there's a young man from Indianapolis. I sent you guys that message about Red's Barbershop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Tom, what they did today, they've got a series of cosmetologists and beauticians coming in to both teams to do the afro braiding and haircuts and nails and all that kind of stuff for the teams.
Oh my God.
So honest to God,
Are they, wait a minute. They're going to do that at Red's?
my granddaughter is down at the Westin Hotel and there's some of them over at the Hyatt. There's some of them taking care of Georgia and some taking care of Alabama. as we
Okay,
speak
okay.
Today. Yeah,
Keeping them at the hotel. Okay.
crazy.
Yeah, Bob, you were just born too soon.
What's that?
You were just born too soon.
Oh, my God, yeah, that's incredible what's happening. While you guys are all, while I've got the floor a little bit and I'll try to get, share with everybody, but my grandson, Bo's youngest, Tom, has made a decision to go to IMG Academy in Florida, in Bradenton, Florida. He's a great lacrosse player. Second semester junior in high school. That down with his family, with his mother and father, and he has a couple friends down there already. But he said, I think for academically and athletically that IMG will be the best place for me to finish high school.
Oh,
So they took him down. They go to Cabo, down to Mexico after Christmas. They came home on January 3rd, and he is now in at IMG, and he starts classes Monday. But they said, you know, fine, let's go. So that's they are empty nesters right now, a little bit early.
Wow.
Wow.
It happens fast, doesn't it?
Major commitment, yeah.
Hey, Bob, does
Yeah.
everyone know what the IMG Academy is all about?
I don't.
If
No.
you, oh yeah, I'll share that with you guys. Back in the early days of Arnold Palmer's career, he met a guy named Mark McCormick. And Mark McCormick said, I'd like to represent you in some things that you're probably not aware of. And if you would like me to help you with that, I'll take 10% and never a dime more or less than anything, and you'll have every contract that we ever sign on your behalf. This was at Latrobe, Pennsylvania, where this occurred, Rick, at Arnold Palmer's home course. So they get
Bob,
up
I
and
know all
shake
about it.
hands.
That's what you tell everybody else.
They get up and shake hands, and that was it. As IMG emerged, IMG became an academic academy and then got into athletic development with football, basketball, baseball, soccer. And their complex in Bradenton is not quite as big as Disney's in Orlando, if you've ever been there, but it's almost the same.
wow.
Wow.
Ironically, Rick, there is a young man from Richmond, Indiana named Nathan Trawick. A very big and very strong and very academically intelligent guy who played football at Miami University. And Nathan Trawick came back to Richmond and coached for a year and was a counselor at Richmond High and all that kind of thing. Then went back to Talawanda down by Miami University, Talawanda High School. And then was hired from there to IMG Academy, where he's now the defensive coordinator of their football program at IMG. Indiana
great.
University just signed a kid that played for him at IMG, and he was one of the #1 recruits that Indiana had this year, defensive lineman out of Florida, I think, out of the Bradenton Academy.
Wow.
But no, it's an amazing, I mean, if you
Yeah,
go online
man.
sometime, just find out about IMG. It's amazing.
Thank you, Bob.
Oh, you bet. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well, Rick's got to be feeling good because Purdue just beat Penn State basketball.
They still have one loss.
Yeah, one loss and won by 6, didn't they, Tommy, today?
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, I had a really bad day. When was that? Was that last weekend or weekend before last? First, I had to root for Purdue, and then I had to root for Ohio State.
Well, break your heart, huh?
You want to be really careful rooting against IU from now on, Jane.
I know.
Hey,
yeah,
that
yeah.
was a good day for the Big Ten because
Yes.
Purdue and
They got
and
a whole
Ohio
lot better,
State
yeah.
held it up, and then the next day, Big Ten as usual
Yeah,
fell apart.
crashed.
Hey, I root for IU every time they don't play Purdue, okay?
Yeah, and
Same way, Rick.
My children went there. Everybody I know went there except me.
January 20th is a big showdown, Rick.
Where is it, Bob?
oh, basketball.
I think that one may be at our place down the first one.
Well, I can't wait to watch it.
But Jimmy,
Yes.
okay. Hi, Jamie.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Jamie.
Long time no see.
Now, are you in a permanent home yet?
No, we're at our beach place, so we're living here until June.
Oh,
And
okay.
then we move over, hopefully.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Well, how is the beach place? Is it pretty big?
No, it's pretty small.
Okay.
It's a 2-bedroom, probably 1,250 square feet or something like that. You know, it's big enough for two of
All
us.
right.
But Jamie, you bought that 50 years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I bought it. We've owned this for quite a while. We've rented it, and we've come down on the weekends in the past some. So yeah, it's nice. So it's a nice setting. It's a great setting. So believe me, we're not suffering down here. It's the weather's been great down in Florida. So
Yeah.
Jamie, I'm down here. I've got to see you pretty soon, okay?
all right. I keep hearing that from you, Rick, but we haven't done it yet. We got to do it.
Right now, I have COVID. I can't come and see you.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
Yeah. Rick, you have COVID?
Yeah, it's a very mild case. I can't believe it.
Well, good.
You're lucky, man.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
I
from?
had it before Christmas. It was just like a bad cold, and then my husband got it. So we neither one were very sick, but my son got it, and he's been really, really bad. He lost his smell and his taste and the chills and the fever, and but he's finally coming out of it.
I have no
Wow.
idea how I got it, but my son went to a party last weekend with 6 people, and 5 of them came down with COVID. So,
Well,
It's a pretty common story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
guys,
vaccinated,
we,
like 3 times vaccinated and all that?
just 2 vaxes,
2 vaccines,
no
but still,
booster.
you can still get it, yeah.
we
Yeah.
had all of our vaccinations, and we still got it. So
With the Omicron virus now, the facility here is testing twice a week.
Good.
And there are no cases among the patients here.
Oh, good.
But Thursday, there were 12 staff members
Oh, geez.
Oh, my goodness.
positive in the nursing home, and they've all had their vaccinations.
Wow.
About 10% of the workforce, 10 or 12 people, yeah.
Oh, my
Wow.
Yeah.
Vicky's
Bad
music.
Yeah,
stuff.
people,
Can't hear her.
people are going in and out of rooms on a time clock now, just fly in and out so we don't get sick, but yeah.
How many of you all have a monoclonal to help you out when you get COVID?
Have a mild what?
Ivermectin or
Pretty hard to get, I think.
It's really hard to get out here. You can only
But
get,
if you have extra, Rick, send them on.
yeah.
We
hard to
don't
get.
have-
Well, the sad thing about it is this stuff works, and that's why there's scarcity. The government doesn't want us to have it. So
I know.
Yeah.
I think a couple of the kinds don't work on Omicron. Only one kind does.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
which one's
I
that?
think that's right, Betsy.
You know, I don't read, I just read the 2 that I didn't read which one
As I
did.
do.
That's one of the issues with what was previously used on Delta and previously they
Mhm.
don't work on Omicron.
The problem is when you take the test to find out if you have COVID, it doesn't tell you what kind you have. So
Yeah, I know.
no, ours didn't either. And they gave me the antibody, but they didn't my husband.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Maybe because I'm diabetic, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's,
Oh, I bet.
oh, that's more than likely why they did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Bob, back just for a minute, you brought up Red's Barbershop. Now, I don't know how many people you told about that, but I went out, always had heard of that, but I had never really, I didn't know anything about it and had never
Been
been
down
there.
to see it, yeah.
But I'm going to go down to see it. I went out there and looked at their website. Man, it looks really cool.
Oh, yeah, no.
what's that?
The great story about Red's Barbershop, Tom, is when I bombed out of the NFL, I came back to Richmond. Let's see, I had 4 jobs, I think, at that time. I was recreation director for the Richmond Park Department. I was in the National Guard. I was doing broadcasting for WKBV in the county for basketball and football games. And I got a call from a friend of mine in college, was a guy named Gary Toffel, was one of my roommates.
A soulful tofu for you.
yeah, soulful tofu.
Right?
And his father was a special team or a coach with the Indianapolis Capitals.
Okay.
Now, for those of you who've never heard the story about the Indianapolis Capitals, we were the first National League football team that won a championship in Indianapolis. And 69 maybe time that was. So I get a call to come to Indianapolis to run the special teams, this long snapping and kickoff team and punt receiving and all that for the Indianapolis Capitals from Joe Topher. He said, you only need to be here 2 days a week plus the games, and we'll pay you $250 a week, which was kind of an astronomical sum at that time. So I said, great. Well, Tom, during that period of time, a couple of my teammates went to Red's Barbershop.
Okay.
Now, this was way before anybody ever knew that, it had all been restored and all that as part of a downtown redevelopment thing. But Red's Barbershop was a classic old time barbershop. And it is still that way. Any of you get in and out of Indianapolis, it's on Washington Street, Tom. I don't remember the block. But it is a classic, brass fittings and, brass chair and razor straps for straight razor shaves and all that. And they've got a big website, like Tom said, if you want to go on it. Young man from Richmond was a good football player. He went to Indiana State, kind of bombed out of that. Wound up getting a little bit of trouble, went to Pendleton or Plainfield or whatever for a while. And that became his barber trade. He learned to be a barber in prison. So he comes back, and one of the placements for those guys when they come out was Red's Barbershop. So he got down there, hustled real well and all that kind of stuff. My grandson, Lori's son works now, or Lori works downtown, her son was down there one day and needed a cut. And some of his buddies had told him about Red's. So he's down at his mom's place, had lunch and that kind of stuff. He walks down to Red's, and Mike Pence, who's vice president of the United States, is in the barber chair. And waiting, the next guy up is Governor Holcomb. So that's the kind of clientele they've got. And, the place is legendary.
Yeah.
In
Red's
Indianapolis, he's known as the Pence.
All right. That's enough of that.
Right now?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's very similar. I mean, of course, a barbershop isn't similar to a restaurant, but
Yeah.
there's a really cool place to eat, and it's very similar, the same kind of thing. You'll see all these people there, but it's just this.
Yeah.
God, what the heck is the name of that
Is it
place?
here?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll think of it and I'll
He'll
tell
think
you.
of it eventually.
But anyway, so now I had sent an email to Betsy because I thought for sure she would have, and I think Bob's the one that first told me about it or told us about it or mentioned it or something. So I thought for sure she would have already watched the Beatles documentary Get
Yeah.
Back on the Plus channel.
You haven't watched that?
But for those of,
Oh my
if you're a Beatles fan, I think you have to be a Beatles fan. Otherwise,
yeah.
it might be too much
Otherwise.
for you.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
if you're a Beatles fan, it'll blow your mind how they did all that.
Amazing.
And you see how they work together and how they were very close friends, and there was no animosity, when they finally just, went their separate ways. And that was the last time they were ever
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
But and I was, as I mentioned to Betsy in the email, one of the things that just knocked me out was that they all could sit down and play every instrument. They all played the piano. They all could play the guitar. It was just amazing.
They could all play the drums.
They
Yeah,
would all
yeah.
they go over and, if Ringo was sitting someplace just resting, somebody else would go over there and start playing the drums.
It's incredible.
It was unbelievable. How many of you have seen it?
Has anybody seen it?
It's on my list. I haven't seen it yet.
What's it on, Tom?
It's on Disney Plus. And
Disney Plus.
you know what, as it turned out, we
Yeah, I
were
think we
going to
get
do
that.
like what Betsy says, we'll sign up for a month and then cancel.
Yeah.
But after we went out there and looked at all the stuff out there on Disney Plus, we
Yeah.
said, oh, what the hell? We just sign up for a year. It's $80.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's sort of what I think they're hoping for, because they're not giving any of those 7-day free trials, like
Right.
most.
Yeah. Yeah.
but anyway, if you're anywhere close to being a Beatle fan, or just seeing how these geniuses, these music geniuses make music.
Yeah.
I mean,
Unbelievable.
and the whole deal about this was that they decided that they would put together a new album, and they had like 28 days or something to do it
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
And they went all over the place about whether it was going to be a concert or whatever, and they ended up doing that thing up on the roof. But they were all coming in there where these were all new songs. They hadn't written them, and they would come in and say, okay, I had one. I started messing around with a song last night. And then they would sit down and they would start playing it, and they would only have a few words.
Yeah.
And then everybody
Piece of paper or
started
something.
pitching in on the words and say, well, I think you ought to put this chord in. No, I think you ought to put this chord in. And most of the time it just seemed like they were just sitting around
Goofing off.
goofing off,
Yeah.
just goofing off.
Exactly right, yeah.
And so I don't know, Bob, if you can add anything to it, some of the things that you saw in there that just
Oh, it's incredible. It just, you always wonder what goes on behind the scenes and some of the genius that, like Tom said. And this gives you a real insight about these dead-end kids from Liverpool who met when they were high school dropouts, some of them in trouble, whatever, and put this thing together. And it became the musical tapestry of our lives, quite honestly. If you are a Beatle fan, it's incredible stuff.
Yeah. And there was enough there that you could really get some decent insight into their true personality.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see the small group dynamics. You know, I'm a organizational psychology guy, so I found that to be very, very interesting. And it was through that whole episode there, through that last thing that they were doing together, you could tell it almost seemed like George was a little bit didn't have the confidence that you would have expected.
Yeah.
And then there was a period there when they were putting all this together for this last album where he wasn't even sure he should even continue to participate. He actually left for a few days, but they all pulled together and talked. Shows a picture of, they always met out at Ringo's house. He had this big mansion.
Looked like a castle.
Yeah. And talked him into coming back and all this, but he kept saying, well, he says, I don't know. He says, I think that maybe you ought to get clapped. He kept saying, I think you ought to get clapped. And then on this last album, the reason Billy Preston ends up on this album is because Billy Preston happened to be in London, and they had met, one of them had met him someplace, and he just walked in one day just to see him and say hi.
Just say hi.
And they said, well, sit down here.
Sit down and play.
And the next thing you know, he says, damn, he said, we need, Billy Preston ought to be another Beatle. He should be a fifth Beatle.
Yeah, they needed a piano.
Well, and Tom, if I remember right, I don't remember exact details, but if I remember right, Billy Preston was on one of the Beatles tours in America.
Yes.
I think
When he was a very young musician. He'd
Oh, he
been
was
on
real
Ed
young.
Sullivan,
Yeah.
and he came out with them on either the first or second American tour, just had a three song minimum or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the concert for Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go, Jimmy.
1971.
You're better than I am, yeah.
Yeah, of course, that's after they were already split up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can see George Harrison's personality come out in that. He was
Right.
so laid
They're-
back.
Yeah, well, actually, near the end of this documentary, George started, one day he's sitting there and he's talking to just John, and he said, you know, John, I think what I would really like to do is just like to take all my songs and put them on one album, all back to back, so I could see what it would be like if I just had all my songs together in one album. And then after they broke up, and he even played a couple of these songs that ended up on All Things Must Pass on that first album he did. So yeah, it was something else.
Unbelievable.
And you'll crack up when Ringo walks in there one day and he says, hey, I did something I want you guys to listen to, and I need some help. And George ends up helping him for a while.
Yeah,
And it
but
was-
Ringo sits at the piano.
But Ringo is sitting at the piano, and then somebody else who else sits down the piano with him?
I don't know.
George is
Somebody
starting to
that
play
can-
chords, and he's
yeah,
telling me, oh, I think you ought to bridge it, you ought to do this.
This and that.
And it was Octopus's Garden.
Oh, yeah.
And all he had was, I'd like to be under the sea. That's all he had. That's all he had. He didn't have any more words than that.
Yeah.
And he didn't go any further than that. It's like, good God. It was hard to believe it when you were sitting there watching all this, how they were doing this.
I think you guys ought to be on a video for the Disney Channel advertising with this show.
I don't care about anybody else. I want you guys to have the experience.
Signing up, now. Signing up right now.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Tom, while we're talking about documentaries, I don't know how many of you remember the name John Madden.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's a documentary out called All Madden, ALL Madden, and it is incredible. You'll laugh and you'll cry and you'll have memories that went back, in the 80s, 90s and whatever. But it is unbelievable and it's so well done. I can't remember who did it, but it's unreal.
Yeah.
What's the name of, Bob, what'd you say?
All Madden, ALLMADDEN, yeah. And Rick, you'll really enjoy it because that was our lives, when we were. And TK, I don't know, did you guys see it, Betsy? You guys done
We
it yet?
haven't watched it yet. Didn't it come out on Christmas and then he died a couple days later or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it actually did, yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard about the promo before you died.
Yeah.
Is that on Netflix?
It is on
Is it ESPN something?
ESPN Plus, I think, yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
And it's also on
Another
Tubi
premium
and some of the
channel.
streaming stuff. You can pick it up on any, about any of that stuff, I think.
Okay, because I would like to see it. Now, I don't want to bore. Did I ever tell you the story about how I met John Madden?
At a truck stop?
No. No. But a lot of people
Yeah,
met him at a truck stop.
I saw him at a truck stop on the way to Columbus, Tom. Yeah.
So I'll try to make this quick.
Yes,
So
make it short.
my business partner, Diane, and I had taken on a brand new client, and he was a real piece of work. But anyway, the guy, and this company is very, very successful company, and he would always have these big annual meetings and all these real fancy places. So this is our first time we're working with this guy. And he was having this out in San Francisco, north of San Francisco at the Ritz-Carlton. I can't remember the name of it. It was right on the ocean. And so he always would wind the thing up on a Saturday evening and have a big dinner ordinarily. But this time they said, we're only going to have real heavy hors d'oeuvres and drinks, but we're not going to have a dinner. I said, well, okay. So everybody goes there and everybody's having a good time. And then this guy's name is Scott Law, and the name of the company is Zotec, and you'll see the name Zotec on the floor of the Butler Arena, Hinkle Fieldhouse. Anyway, so his brother, David, in charge of sales. So where everybody's there having a good time at this thing, and all of a sudden David says, let me have everybody's attention. He says, everybody take out your cell phone. So everybody takes out their cell phone. They got it all ready to go. And he says, okay, hold it up in the air. Hold it up in the air. I want to be able to see your cell phone. Okay. He says, okay, now turn it off. I mean, turn it off. Don't mute it. He says, I want it turned off. So everybody turns off their phone. He says, okay, either put it in your purse, put it in your pocket. Don't ever bring it back out. And then follow me. And then we follow him and we go into this room. And at the front of the room, there's a riser and there are two, comfortable chairs with a table and a lamp in between and a coffee table in front. And there's a big Oakland Raider helmet sitting there. And sitting up there in those two chairs are Scott Law and John Madden. And for about 2 hours, he just talked to John Madden. John Madden talked, and then everybody could ask him questions and all this kind of stuff. And then at the end, everybody single file got to go up, shake his hand, talk to him, say hi to him, and have your picture taken. And then everybody got an NFL football signed by John Madden.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's great.
Was that
Somebody was here recently and they said, you better put that football in glass.
Yeah.
Don't just let it sitting out there on the shelf.
Unreal, yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't
that
unreal?
and the conversation that went on, and as you guys can imagine, if you really know a lot about John Madden, or if you ever watch that, then you'll see how entertaining a guy was. But just down, when I say entertaining, I mean just down to earth.
Yeah.
Down to earth.
Tom, I think that's the thing that the documentary will remind you of, is this was a guy that loved people. He talks about, I love football. I played football. I played in college. I played in professional. He was actually with the Philadelphia Eagles in 1959, I think, was drafted. Didn't work out, but became an announcer, a color guy, Fox, CBS, and I don't know, maybe every network in the country.
It was everyone, yeah.
But he loved football from the time he was a young man until he was, and he said, I was able to do that my whole life, and still was doing it.
One of the things, and there's a lot of business connections to this,
Hey, guys.
Curio. Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to leave. My neighbor across the street has to go to the pharmacy and they don't drive.
Oh,
And
okay.
I lost you when they called in, so I can't.
Okay.
Bye, Becky.
Well,
Bye,
bye, Becky.
Bye.
Hey, if it doesn't take too long and you get back before 4:20, get back
Yeah,
on.
just get back on.
Okay, well, if I can figure out how to do it.
Could be bonus.
Let's go back out to the email and click on it again.
Okay, I'll do
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Uh, he was
Tommy.
he was talking about people were asking questions and players, and he said we never cut players because of their athletic abilities. If they would try hard and work hard and everything else, he said we cut players because of their attitude. That's why we cut players.
Isn't that amazing?
They had to have a real good attitude. And because he was relating a lot of stuff to everything that he had learned in football to business. So anyway. Tom,
Tommy.
yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk.
Sorry.
Go.
Ask your question.
Okay, yeah. First thing is, was that Half Moon Bay perhaps? Where
That was it. Half Moon Bay. Yes.
I know that, yeah. The other one is, Betsy and I went to several US Opens at Pebble Beach. And one year, I said to Betsy, man, it looks like John Madden over there. He was by himself he wasn't by himself totally. His two sons were with him. So I just sort of sauntered over there and got close enough to, I was afraid to just go up and say, hey, don't you know who I am? Anyway, so they were talking about, this was probably well into his career, so he probably had a lot of money. And they were pointing to several in the harbor area there at the golf course. There were some really expensive homes if anybody's ever been there. It's a fabulous setting there.
Oh, yeah.
So they were talking about, well, they want 20 million for that one, and they want some, and I didn't have the fortitude to go up and say, I know who you are, and I really respect you, and blah blah blah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Did you
I
just,
missed my opportunity.
so
Yeah,
all you did was listen in on their conversation?
yeah, I snooped on.
Hey, Nancy, come on now. Don't be giving him a hard time. Well, a little bit real quickly on that one. I had an uncle. He was he retired as a captain in the Navy, and when he retired, he was stationed out in California. And after he retired, then he went to work for Wells Fargo in their commercial real estate, and he went down and opened up the whole Monterey area. And so as you may know, I think that my brother Steve was a golf pro, and he was playing one time at Pebble Beach, and a gentleman kept noticing a gentleman was following him around. And finally at the end, the gentleman, he had on a trench coat, and because it's cool and can be pretty chilly there at Pebble Beach. And so he walks up to me and says, yes, Steve, I'm your Uncle Keith. So Uncle, and I knew, but I don't know that my brother Steve knew
No, he's
that Uncle
oblivious.
Keith lived on 7 Mile, is it 7 Mile Drive?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he lived there,
17
and
Mile Drive,
he,
yeah.
yeah, and he belonged to the Monterey Country Club.
Yeah, yeah.
He was big time. He belonged to Monterey Peninsula Country Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you know what? Hey, he double dipped. He was in there for 30 years in the Navy. He was a World War II, you know, he was the guy, one of the guys that he flew dive bombers off of aircraft carriers, and he was in the Battle of Midway, and he was one of those guys that took off of the aircraft carrier, dropped his bombs, came back, his aircraft had been sunk, aircraft carrier had been sunk and had to land on another one. And he got the Navy Cross, all this kind of stuff, and he was in for 30 years and
Fabulous.
and retired, you know, then. And he was a captain of a number of different ships, including aircraft carriers. One of them was a fairly well-known one called the Shangri-La. But anyway, so that's a little bit of story about Pebble Beach and all that.
Hey, Tom,
Yeah.
while we're talking about Pebble, I got to share a story with you guys. TK actually met us out there a couple of times, didn't you, Tom? Andrew, and
Yeah.
we had good walks on Pebble Beach, but one of the guys that I've gotten to know through my son's golf career, and there's obviously a lot of people that I've gotten to know, is a guy from Houston, Texas named Kerry Patterson. And Kerry Patterson, if you look up the largest settlement against the tobacco industry ever held or ever awarded, Kerry Patterson and his partners in Houston got the largest settlement ever awarded. And I don't remember the $1 billion number, but it's huge. And on the 8th hole at Pebble Beach, which is one of the par threes or short par fours that they show on TV all the time, just to the right, there's always a patron tent there where people are kind of hanging around, but it doesn't fit the tournament. It's just kind of a party tent for Kerry Patterson's home. Well, as you come down 17 Mile Drive and you're coming down past the golf course and you turn on that little bit narrow street and you go around a curve, there's a little sign there that's probably, I can't get my fingers up where you can see it, but probably a couple feet long, the size of your computer screen, that says Lucky Strike. And it's very humbling or whatever, but everybody wants to know, what is that damn Lucky Strike sign about? That's the story about Kerry Patterson's life. And right before Christmas, Kerry has a hunting preserve up in South Dakota. And he and his son take a bunch of their buddies up, and somehow or another, Bo got invited to this thing, I guess through Pebble Beach and, you know, playing with them and that kind of stuff. But they go up there and they hunt and eat and all that kind of stuff for 7 or 8 days and just have a ball. But that's another great story about that place, Tom. It's incredible if you've never been there.
Yeah. Now, Carol, have you been down to Pebble Beach to see that?
Carol Fleming?
Yes, Carol Fleming. You're the golfer.
I like to golf. I wouldn't call myself a golfer. And I watch it on TV, but I haven't been to Pebble Beach.
Okay.
I've been to Pebble Beach, but I was there for lunch, but we didn't feel like we were good enough to play the course.
Or rich enough, maybe?
Yeah.
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 It's worth it though. I mean, I forget what it cost, but we just had lunch and watched people and bought a few things down in their pro shop, but didn't really play. We just didn't feel like we were good enough to be on that course.
It is a public course, although
I have no idea what the green screens are now. I'm sure they're online, Betsy, but yeah.
Katie has played Pebble Beach.
All right, Katie.
We had a Pepsi event there one time, and we took over the whole course. And of course, the greens were, the fairways were all burned out because they were trying to get it ready for, you know, one of the big events there. So I think the only reason they got it is because nobody really would want to play on it in the condition it was in.
But Pepsi will, right?
But anyway, we played it, and then Katie and I were out there visiting our son a number of years ago, and we went over there, and I was talking to the guys in the pro shop, and I said, well, you know, what do you get these days? And he said, well, would you like to play? And I said, well, I don't know. I said, what do you get now? It was going to be like an $800 round, you know, by the time I added the caddy. And I said,
Jim, I started to mention that, but I was afraid I'd be out of line, but I think that's the last green fee number that I heard was $800 or $900.
yeah, it's unbelievable.
I
Unbelievable.
just looked, it's, as of April 1st, 2020, it went from $550 to $575 per person. In addition, it costs $45 per person to use a cart. If you want a caddy, that's at least $95 plus tip. So
It'll add up to 800.
I guess you could get the 800.
So there's not a golf course in the world that's worth that to me anyway. So,
What about
Come
caddy?
on, Jim.
Hey, you only live once.
Yeah.
I played it once. That's all.
Oh,
I did.
okay. All right.
You got it. You got it.
Well, Carol, it sounds to me like they've come down in price, probably because of COVID. I think you ought to take a trip down there and play.
I probably should.
Yeah.
I'll film it on my phone and.
Okay,
Okay, good.
we're going to count on that.
Good.
That sounds good.
Do a TikTok, Carol. Do a TikTok and get 1 million
Whatever
views.
that is. Yeah.
So now Sandy came on late and I wanted to ask Sandy. So Sandy, do you remember Doug Allen? Would he have been in your home?
Yeah. Yes, I remember Doug Allen. Yes,
Okay.
not well. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
That's a
I
sad
remember,
name.
Alan?
I remember Doug Allen.
Yeah.
He came,
yeah.
yeah,
If I
Doug,
could see his picture, then it would click in, I'm sure.
Good looking guy.
Yeah, I looked him up because I didn't remember the guy.
What about
Nancy,
it?
and Nancy,
remember that
so
name.
who was your homeroom teacher? You and Karen and Nancy, AB, so
I don't remember.
Alexander was mine. Alexander.
Alexander.
You'd think I'd have remembered that.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
No,
The
he's a
science
great,
teacher,
he's a great
the science
biology teacher.
Yeah.
I actually
or
remember
biology
There he goes. Harv's
But-
got it.
to one of our
Yeah, where is
reunions.
he?
Wait, you're holding it. Move it up. Move it up. There he is. There he is.
Yeah.
There he is.
Middle
Yeah.
second row.
Middle second
Mhm.
row.
Mhm.
It doesn't have
Okay.
any, like,
Do
no,
it again.
no clubs or anything like that. It just has his name and nothing else,
Huh.
like any.
Really?
But
Well, what about it? Why are we talking about him?
he passed away.
That's the
Oh, he
way.
did?
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't hear that.
You folks, he came to one of our reunions that
Yes,
Jane Weininger was doing one of those reunions at MCL or one of the luncheons that we had. And he came and he looked like a mountain man. And I remember-
That's it. I thought that was the guy.
I walked up and I walked up to him and I had the Pyarian and I said, I cannot find Doug Allen in this picture. And this man standing in front of me. He had this beard, he had long hair. He never was a very tall man. And he came to one of our recent meeting, 10, 15, whatever Jane was doing. There- Yeah, and I just could not find Doug inside that because he was so cute. Oh, well, listen to me.
Well, didn't he come to the 50th? Because I talked to him before the 50th when I was calling people.
Was Jane she did her luncheons after the 50th, didn't she?
Yeah.
Right, right.
But I think Nancy is remembering also that maybe, I can't remember if it was one of the luncheons or if it was like, as you're saying, Nancy, the 50th.
I
But
thought it was.
What
yeah.
I kept thinking when I got that, how many, did she send that email to all of you or just to me?
I never saw it.
I got it.
I saw
I
it.
got it.
I got
On
it.
and hit
I
his
got
head
it.
or something.
Yeah,
I
because it
saw
looked like
that.
she, it looked like she.
Was he
sent it.
living?
Yeah, it was just yesterday
Yes,
or the day before.
Yeah, last evening.
And it looked like.
Where was he living?
Okay.
That's what I,
Chandler, that's why I asked Jane if Chandler, where's Chandler, Arizona?
Oh, that's. Yeah,
Right
that's near
outside of Phoenix.
Who's Jane?
Yeah, she's off.
Oh,
Jane got off. I don't know. What's
Yeah, it
going
should-
on.
beautiful town right outside of Phoenix, isn't it, Jane?
That's right. That's what I thought. Chandler's
But-
near Phoenix.
Yeah,
Karen, what Karen
my
is
cousin
saying,
Tom was an FBI agent, retired in Indianapolis now, but he was in Chandler for a long time.
okay.
Had the office in Chandler, Arizona.
Well, Karen, when I talked to him, I had the same, it was like, whoa, you're Doug Allen?
Yeah.
And as I recall,
Where did he live?
when I started talking to him and asked him, well, what you been doing and all this kind of stuff, sounded like he was some sort of a scientist or something, working on all kinds of classified stuff. I mean, it sounded like he was this brainiac.
Right.
That-
I don't
yeah,
remember.
and it's like, wow, man. But then when I got this email yesterday or the day before from his wife, Billy Sue, she
Billy Sue Rich?
actually
Sue, not Billy Sue.
Billi Sue, right? Am I getting that right, Harvey? You get that?
So, and the thing that was surprising to me, it said he had an Orthodox Jewish funeral, and I knew him. I don't remember the guy, but there were only about 4 Jewish kids in the high school when I was there, so he wasn't one that I knew about. So maybe he converted or something.
Harvey, as you guys were talking, I don't remember the guy at all.
I don't remember. That's why I looked him up and tried to think,
Well, he was short. You could overlook him.
The guy I was talking to was definitely short, but I didn't remember him. I just remember what he looked like. And but Harvey, if he was Orthodox, would that mean necessarily that he would have gone to temple there in Richmond? Because wasn't that pretty?
They didn't build that temple until I think the year I was leaving high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're exactly right, Tommy.
So-
Harvey, 1964.
64. So there you go.
Baton
So,
Rouge was built. Yeah.
yeah.
So
that may
most,
have been it.
you went to Dayton? Did you go to Dayton to Temple?
Well, all I did was go to the local stuff that we used to do at the Leland Hotel on high holidays. But
Oh,
we would drive over to Dayton and was bar mitzvah over in Dayton. So
Hey, Harv,
my kids did that, yeah.
Harv, could he have had a Jewish funeral, even though he wasn't a Jew, if he requested?
If he converted, I guess, yeah. I mean, not every, I don't know if every Orthodox rabbi would do
Yeah.
that, but I'm
that,
sure
yeah.
you can find
Mhm.
one. But yeah, I mean, he must have converted because I didn't know anything back then.
All right.
well, I'll tell you, the guy that Karen and I met, that Karen remembers. So Nancy, you just talked to him on the phone to get him to come to the 50th.
Yeah.
But
That's
you never
right.
saw him.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, but
Karen-
And
yeah,
again,
he was a scientist or something to do with guns or
he was
justice.
Orthodox. At our 50th, he would have worn a yarmulke.
Two kind of go together, Nancy.
You gotta find his obituary.
Yeah, so
I'll
I
look for
am now.
his obituary.
Will you look, who sent out the obituary?
His
Nobody.
Oh,
No,
His
I,
wife sent the announcement.
Yeah.
Then it's a
That's
who.
fine.
Yeah.
He died back in October, actually.
September.
Or he,
I got a question about Larry Hogg.
and so he actually passed.
We're
Yeah, I don't even
celebrating.
remember who's
Yeah.
Larry
Oh,
Hogg.
Jamie.
Yeah,
Was his
what about-
wife from here?
Where did Larry
from
Hogg
Richmond?
go to junior high? Where did he go to junior high school?
Dennis,
Larry. That's
he
what
was
I
at Dennis
thought. I
with you
remember-
guys, Jim.
Yeah, I remember him. He's a really good guy.
Remember
Yeah.
Larry?
He was
Good guy,
like,
mild mannered.
Hmm.
We were talking earlier, Jim, he played football and was a substitute at right guard with Terry Hines.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
The two
okay.
Stoli guys played left guard and I don't remember somebody else, but those guys were on the right side.
He
Now,
did a
Bob,
lot with his-
I'm
he
still
did a
alive.
lot with his life, you know, he really did. It was very impressive to read his obituary. you know.
Wow.
Yeah, and a very quiet, unassuming guy. I made a comment, Jim, to his family. I was talking to a couple of his nephews and great nephews that are still here in town. And trying to get the obituary, actually. Jane Ann came up with that, but they said, you know, his wife is the only person that's going to release this, and with her permission, I can do it, but I can't do it without her permission. But I made a comment to his family that I remember him being a very quiet, unassuming, but very effective football player. And I would assume a very good person, you know, and based on his obituary, I had the same conclusion you did, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Does
it's nice
somebody have the
nice
Pierian?
that somebody gave his family that feedback, Bob. I'm glad, because when I read his obituary, there wasn't much connection to Richmond other than, you know, he grew up here, but it was nice that somebody said something nice about him.
Well, he has a, Sean Hogg, the guy at Red's Barbershop, Tommy, is one of his nephews or great nephews or something. You got a young man named Terrence Hogg. I talked to a guy named Jarvis Hogg who coaches basketball here. They're all related, Jim, but somehow or another, that family is a little bit discombobulated.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway,
It's a close
that's
knit
nice
group.
that you were able to do that, though. So,
No, thank
Now,
you.
here's the other thing. For those of you who did get well, I sent the obituary out to everybody. You notice then at the very bottom, it mentions two of his friends.
Yeah,
One of
Gary
them
Worthington.
being Gary Worthington. And Bob, you got to remember Gary. He was a year
Oh, yeah.
behind us, and he was a
Gary
heck. Was he
Worthington
a
was
tackle or a,
He's Jim Ramey's cousin.
yeah?
Oh, my God.
Now, was he a
Gary
tackle?
Worthington.
Was he an
Gary
offensive
Worthington
tackle?
moved here
Right.
from Ohio and was a year behind us and then played backup tackle on the left side.
In basketball too, I think, didn't he? He was
Played
tall.
basketball with us, TK, yeah.
Yeah, I remember him being on the right side, but it could be the left side. Because I remember one time where I missed a hole or something and I ran into his back and he said, "Hey, Tom, next time, try not to hit me in the back, man. That hurts." I'll never forget that. And Gary was a big
He's
guy.
out in California. He's out in California. He lives not far from Patty Smith's brother, Bobby.
Oh,
Okay.
my gosh.
And then the other name
I can't remember the name of the town.
Yeah, the other name that they mentioned that was a friend, but it could be that she was married to a Ship, but was the last name Ship. And there was a big family of Ships in Richmond.
Yeah,
But they were
Tommy
all
Ship.
younger than
Tom Ship was about our age, wasn't he, Tommy?
Tommy would have been, I think Tommy was 2 years behind us. So he was a
Okay.
class of 65. Yeah.
And then there was a girl, what's the first name on that?
I don't remember the first name that they said,
No,
but
but you're
anyway.
right. I remember the Ship family from the north side.
Well, the other thing that I don't know if you remember, but at Nancy, because you were real involved with the 50th,
Mhm.
he actually came to the 50th and he kind of had like an entourage. And if you remember him there that night, he had a white cane and he's blind.
Yeah, he is.
And so I walked up there and I said, "Hey, I remembered him, even though he was a much bigger guy than what he was back then at high school." And I went up and I spoke to him and I talked to him. And he told me that he had lost his eyesight to diabetes. And then I don't know how many of you remember, but I asked him if he would give the blessing before the dinner. And he gave the blessing.
Yes, I do remember.
So, yeah. So I was sorry to hear or get that info or find out that he had passed away. It's too bad.
Did he sit with Charlie Wright at that 50th? Do you remember,
He
Tom?
may have.
Might have, sure.
Because we sat with Charlie Wright. I
Okay.
was really surprised. Tom and I sat with Charlie Wright. It was, yeah. I just remember liking Charlie so well from his basketball days. You know,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right.
Good man.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to know Charlie since the 7th grade at Test.
Wow. Yeah.
Me too.
Upstanding. Yeah. Is Terry Hines still alive?
Oh, no.
No.
He was
Terry was
killed in Vietnam.
Who was that?
In Vietnam.
In Vietnam, yes.
Who asked that question?
I did.
Karen.
Karen.
Karen Alexander.
Karen, Terry went to IU for a year maybe and came back to Richmond and got in a little bit of a situation. And at that time, if you recall, and some of you guys will recall, I'm sure, You could either go to jail or you could go to service.
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Terry enlisted in the Marine Corps and went to Vietnam and then was killed shortly after that. Rick, how long was he over there?
Not long.
Wasn't there very long.
Yeah.
I think it
I'm
was
gonna say
3 or 4
5
months.
max, yeah.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was
Oh, my husband lost a nephew that was only over there 3 weeks. Yeah.
Ooh.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I did
Okay.
get a rubbing of Terry Hines' name when, I went to Washington and,
Oh, did you?
yes,
Good,
so that was
good.
just
Yeah.
something, 'cause I knew him.
Yeah.
my daughter.
Mainly
He's a
from
good
Rick.
guy.
Yeah.
Terry was a good guy.
He was probably my best friend when I first, he went to Hibbard with me.
Right.
Dick used to ride to school with him every day. For many years, he was my best friend, and then everybody goes different ways.
Well, you
62
know,
red,
he was a very smart guy too.
wasn't that a
Maybe not
60
everyone knew
Cutlass
that,
he
but
had,
was
Rick?
very smart, very intelligent.
Was that a 60 Cutlass he had, Rick, put off?
Trying to think if it was a sharp red one.
Yeah.
60
bought
or
it from-
61. His mother bought it for him.
His mom worked down at Oldsmobile for Mr. Bowen. And he always got in trouble at Courtney Newarner's house.
And whose house? Oh, dear.
Her father had forbidden her to see Terry.
What would that be, Bob? Tell us.
And that was Bob Newarner, the plumbing guy, lived on South 14th Street. And if Rick and I and Dick Houston, whoever's riding around in the car, Terry would hide his car down the street. And then he'd walk up to meet Courtney. And so I don't remember, Rick, if you were there or not, but on a particular night, Mr. Newarner walked around the block and caught Terry and Courtney together and just went crazy in front of a few of us.
You know, my
Terry.
brother, Bob, my
What's
brother
that?
was married. My brother was married to Courtney Newarner.
There you go.
And his daughter is Christy Armacost, who is now in New York City
There you go.
and doing quite well. But if Steve had to borrow any money for law school, when he went to law school, he had to pay every cent back with interest.
Oh, my gosh.
Whoa.
Hey, this sounds really silly, but could Rick tell me about the picture behind him? I'm keep looking, Rick, at what's behind you there. And I'm going, is it a blind man about to be shot? Or a blindfolded man, I meant.
As a matter of fact, it's something that's not going to be there much longer. We bought this house furnished and
Oh,
abstract, like everything else in the house, is going to be gone soon. But,
okay.
What is it, Rick?
What is it?
What is it?
It's an abstract painting. Don't ask me what it is.
Oh, okay.
You know,
You wanted to
it's
see it.
your own imagination, I guess.
Rick, is there a name on it?
No, this is not an expensive one.
It's not
Not a name.
Kardensky.
I think this is a mass-produced, machine-made thing.
I
There
don't
you
know.
go.
It just keeps drawing my attention. Okay,
So
sorry.
it looks like someone that might be going to be shot.
Yeah,
Well, it could be, I guess it could be defined as a splat.
didn't mean blind. I mean
I
blindfolded.
think so. That's part of the splat effect of this modern art, yeah.
Hey, back to the subject of music.
Yes.
Music.
Is the new format that I set out. better
I
than
love
what
it.
we did?
Love, it. Yeah, it's
It's
great.
good. It's very good.
Jim, I did not get it. I did not get it.
A new
And
format.
so I was gonna ask you, if you could resend it or something. So if I got it, I didn't know I got it. And
Did you look in your, did it dump it into your trash?
I looked in my trash
Oh, okay.
because Jim had said
Trash.
that he'd sent it. So I looked in my trash. I looked everywhere and I
I
couldn't find
wonder,
it.
Jim, which email distribution list are you using? Are you using the most current?
I was using one that I have some extra people on.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, well, you might check and see if Sandy's
Make
even
sure-
on that.
Yeah, make
I've
sure.
always gotten them before,
Huh.
so I don't know, because I was looking for
Anybody
it.
else not get
Forward
it?
to it.
I got it.
Okay, good. Oh, how was the Christmas music? I never got any feedback on that.
We were all too busy opening
I think
presents.
it's still on my computer. I haven't-
Hey, Becky's back.
She's back.
Yeah.
Hi.
Quick
Or
trip.
Becky?
A lady ended up in the hospital and then she went to go get her prescriptions at Walgreens yesterday and I took him up there. He's got epilepsy. He can't drive.
Whoa.
And the one prescription that she needed the most, they didn't have.
Of course.
Ah, gee.
Of course.
And so they tried to get it switched to CVS and evidently that didn't happen. So they got a hold of Walgreens. I said, well, we got 10 pills. And she said, well, I'll take them.
10 pills.
Mhm.
It's better than nothing.
Wow.
So I had to take him back up there to get them.
Well, one last thing about Terry Hines. You would want to have Terry Hines be your friend, not your enemy.
Yeah.
That's all I can.
I saw some guy out at the Penguin at restaurant one night. I was out there and he got in a fight with somebody and just knocked him out cold. Just-
Hey, Jim.
he was a tough dude, I'm telling you.
He's a hell of a wrestler too.
Yeah, he
Jim, you
was.
guys will love this story. Terry
Tom.
Hines is at IU. Terry Hines is at IU, and I'm living in the dormitory, and Terry's in the Sigma Nu house up on the hill. In between us, there's a meadow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of a meeting place where everybody gets together. One of the guys I played football with was from Steubenville, Ohio. His name was Ray Terry. And Ray Terry was a yellow black guy. He was a fair-skinned black guy. But he's been a Golden Gloves boxer in about 165 or 75 pound weight class. Left-handed wingback in the days of the old wing T. So Terry Hines would come out with the fraternity guys in snowball, ice ball fights. Let's go kick their ass, coming down the hill throwing snowballs.
It sounds like it.
Then he'd run around by us, the guys coming out of the dorms, and most of us being in the athletic dorms. Hey, let's go kick their ass, throwing snowballs. Well, Ray Terry is on the right-hand side, I'll never forget it, of a snowball fight that Terry Hines is doing this in. And he sees him make that little move down the hill. And he calls him out on it. So Terry, being a reflex action, is a sucker punch. Pow! And Ray Terry, honest to God, Jim, looked like he had him on a string. Looked like Muhammad Ali working on a light bag on Terry Hines' head. Hit him 50 times if he hit him once.
Oh my goodness.
But we laughed about that forever.
Hey, Tommy,
Big Terry.
I asked Terry once, I said I'd never been in a fight and don't want to be in a fight, but you got any advice for me? He says, oh yeah, you have to get in the first punch. It's got to be your best punch.
First is best. Yep.
First
Yeah.
is best.
Terry's best punch was a right kick to the groin area.
Oh,
Oh,
you lift your knee into the guy's face. And,
Yeah, Terry was something else, man.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
by the
you
way,
guys-
Bob, was that the Rock Tunkel or some name similar to that? Rock Tunkel
That was
That
the guy
Terry-
that sent him to Vietnam.
that caused him to, yeah, exactly. Okay. But
Yeah. Rock Tonkel was the guy's
Down
name.
at the-
Tommy. He's a physical therapist at Reed Hospital.
it's something about the Y was involved.
They were
in
at the
it.
Y working out.
Okay.
Did you guys happen to talk about the Chevy commercial while I was gone?
About the what?
Which one?
The Chevy commercial, the Christmas commercial?
The one I sent
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
What about
Yes.
that?
That was on our TV stations down here quite a bit.
Was it?
And It is.
It was on ours too. Mhm.
It's just a tearjerker. And
Yeah, we didn't see it here in Indianapolis. My brother sent it to me.
No, I
it
saw
was a
it.
very good commercial.
Yeah.
It was.
Now, because we're starting to get close on time, we got to find out what is the latest on the move of the Kinders out to California.
Well, first, Betsy's last name is Scattergood, so you can.
Scattergood and Kinder, excuse me.
I'll excuse you, Tommy. You're a Beatles fan.
Thank you. You guys are married, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We got married. You've heard that story. The only reason we got married was we needed a
Mortgage and
loan for a mortgage to buy a condo back in '74, and
in the South,
in
they
the
wouldn't,
South,
they
would
wouldn't
say,
loan
"Yeah,
it
hell
to you
no,
unless
you
you were
can't
married.
They wouldn't let you keep your name down there. Good old boys, wouldn't they, Betsy?
That's funny.
But it worked out all right, didn't it?
Worked out all right. No, maybe we'll visit again later this year, see what progress they've made, but it's in like 2 years out.
I'm more optimistic than that. I think it's like a year and a half. But we'll be checking in with Harv, and he's in the
I'm
area.
going up to Healdsburg February 1st or something like that. I'll check it out.
Okay.
Where y'all going in California?
What part of California, TK, Betsy?
Healdsburg and Sonoma.
Sonoma County.
Oh my gosh. Right where all the fires are.
Well, that particular town didn't do it.
Yeah, but here's a glass of wine that came from Sonoma, right here.
I know. I love the wine country too, but
So now they have fires in Colorado and Washington, and where are you gonna go, right?
Jim knows that.
Hey, guys, I gotta tell one more story before we go. A friend of mine named Steve Coger stopped by a minute ago, worked at the Palladium Item for years. He had a friend in Colorado who got burned out. Name is Rick Jeffries. Rick has done very well out there, PhD from IU. So he and Rick are on the phone or texting back and forth or something. And he said, "My God, Rick, what did you lose everything?" He said, "Steve, I have nothing left. Nothing. My house, where my house was is a pile of dust. And we don't have a home, but we don't have the prospect on finding one because of real estate market. There were like 650 houses in this neighborhood burned out in the hills in Colorado." He said, "The one thing that pisses me off more than anything else that I lost was my Bob Knight basketball that was autographed by Coach Knight." That was about 10 minutes ago before we started.
Bob's still around. He might be able to.
Could
I
possibly.
would think he would respond.
DK, you and I are thinking the same way. You know what I told him? I
No.
said, "Stevie, Bob Knight goes to John Laskowski's Culver Restaurant in Bloomington at 2:00 every afternoon and meets fans."
Really?
And I said, "I'm sure if you told somebody that story, he'll get that ball replaced in a hurry."
That's
He's
probably.
got dementia, I think.
That's
so.
probably
Actually
true.
working on that, Tom, as we speak.
He's fortunate to be alive. That's the best thing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's what he
That's
said.
true.
That's what he said to Steve.
yeah.
Okay, is that, it went through, he said his house was gone, Tommy, in about 15 minutes.
Wow.
Gosh.
Hey, Tom Pearson, hi.
Hi, guys, how are you?
Hey, hey.
Tom, how you doing?
Pardon me, but I'm in my old scruffies. I'm rebuilding a golf cart as we speak.
We can't smell
Did you
you.
just wake up, Tom, or what?
No. Oh, Rick. No, I'm redoing a golf cart. And it took time to stop redoing the golf cart to come join it. I haven't been on here for a long time.
Good.
Hello, Tom.
Good to
How's
see you, man.
everybody?
Well, this was we had a lot of good conversation, and I'll send the recording out, so be sure you watch it. Because
I will. Happy New Year to everybody, too.
yeah.
Too, Tom.
New Year to you.
Well,
Yeah,
now TK and Betsy, so when you went out there, though, you liked what you saw, and you're definitely committed, you're gonna go.
We had some questions, but I'd say it's more likely than not, but there definitely are some questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you looking at some property for a vineyard out there or what?
Yeah.
Those Probably similar to Jamie, who I think, if I got it right here, is he and his wife are moving to senior living facility and
Yeah, a progressive care, you know.
yeah,
They take care of you to the end. That's the deal.
exactly. So that's one of the benefits. Yes,
Yeah.
it is a long way from here or from Atlanta, from Richmond, being in Sonoma County, but the
You can
worst.
always come to Naples. We got a good one down here too, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have more than one bedroom?
I do, but I'm talking about, we have them all different sizes down here. You can find
Okay.
some.
Yeah.
Okay. And Harvey, you are fully retired now?
Yeah, I'm going another quarter.
Oh, Harvey.
No, what's
Go
coming
one more
next, Harvey?
quarter,
I'll go
so-
one more quarter, right?
One more quarter.
One more quarter, so.
Sound like
we'll-
a
One
basketball
more
player.
quarter. Okay,
One more quarter, coach.
we're gonna hold you to it, Harvey.
We got that on. We got
But I
that
might
on
be
tape.
like you, Tom. It could be a little part-time action after
Yeah,
that.
there you
Okay,
go. There
that's
you go.
good.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Three
That's good.
thirty-one is the final full-time.
Because you know a lot about the company and your
Okay, we're
value.
marking it down, man. So when it gets close to 3:31, we have our call, we'll sing to you or something.
All right.
Is that June 30th, Harv? Is that what you're saying?
March 31st is the.
Oh, it
final.
is.
Okay, that's not
Okay,
bad.
okay.
That's not bad.
You know, you can do that on my birthday. That's my birthday,
There
Harvey.
you go.
That'd be my
I'm
birthday
gonna
present.
I'm gonna celebrate.
You can cut it down by 2 weeks since you're on Betsy's birthday. So
There you go. Do a
We'll
big
come out.
celebration.
And then before we go, so let's see, your iPad, the true iPad, okay, the real iPad,
Real iPad.
not iPad 2, but the real iPad.
Right.
So how much snow you got?
Almost none.
Oh,
Oh,
my
you're
God.
kidding, Judy?
Really?
Really?
Oh, my
Good.
goodness.
It's all on the west coast.
I
Guys,
know.
you know, when they show the national news, it always looks like you're getting dumped on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
They've been southern storms so far. We're getting cold, but no snow.
Yeah.
Sad.
Huh.
Yeah.
On the other end, up north of Harvey, the Cascade Passes, I think Harvey are closed until January 30 or 20th, if I remember right.
Yeah, but Tahoe, they're getting a lot, which is good.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, water.
Mhm.
That's
Yes.
My son lives, it's on Snoqualmie Pass, and it is
A mess.
200 and some, 260 inches, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's closed. Every pass going to western, from west to east is pretty much closed.
All done. And yeah, I talked to Sharon earlier online about that, and she said it's all closed down out there where she's at.
Wow.
Well, it's
We're
four.
getting 71 degrees and sunny out here.
I love it, buddy. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, we're about 20 and balmy, Tom. Thank you.
Yeah, really.
Uh-huh.
Of course, yesterday when we got up, it was 3.
Yeah.
It was freezing.
3. See, look, even Judy hasn't been that cold.
She thought that was cold.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
not
it's
gonna be
cold.
4 below on Tuesday.
Ugh.
Okay.
Three should be a time, not a temperature.
Yeah.
Right. Well, listen, we better go. It's 4:21, 4:20. So, but next time then it'll be on Saturday, February the 5th.
Okay.
Saturday,
Thanks,
February.
everybody.
Something like that.
Okay.
Okay,
Tom.
goodbye.
Stay safe, stay healthy.
Yep.
Everybody too.
Thanks a lot.
Hey,
And
Tom,
the heat, and the heat, Tommy Pearson.
Tom,
Bye.
good
Send the heat this way, please.
I'll tell you what,
documentary called All Madden, Tom, you want to see.
Yes,
Yeah.
find that.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, Tommy,
Yeah.
is there, since we're only meeting once a month, is Zoom pinching us? Can we talk for, if we want to, for 2 hours instead of an hour and a half or an hour and 15?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay, maybe people can think about it.
Sure. We don't have to cut off at 4:20. I always thought, I never knew how it would work, you know, I never knew how it would go. And I thought you guys would get a kick out of quitting at 4:20.
How many people are on here? 'Cause how many people are on here? I'm only seeing like 3 or 4 people. Oh, there's Felice. Okay.
Well, yeah, Felice has been traveling. Or no, you haven't been
We
traveling.
heard a word from Felice today. Come on. Hey, Felice.
Well, I went to Hawaii, Jim,
All right.
and
Yeah.
it was not raining when I was there. Went to Kauai, to the South Shore, not the North Shore.
yeah.
Missed the rain before and after. Really, really lucky. Gorgeous.
You need to start buying lottery tickets.
I know, with all that luck, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I went with my son and 3 grandchildren and his in-laws. It was great. It was wonderful. We had a pool in the backyard. We saw whales. It's not really whale season yet, but we saw them.
Well, they're
And we went
all around
snorkeling.
here.
So very relaxing, fun, nice change. It's cold here now, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cold.
So what kind of weather were you having there at Kauai?
60s to 80s. You know, 60 in the night and morning and 80s during the day. It was
Nice.
gorgeous. It was
Perfect.
so
Nancy,
pretty.
had Nancy been on a trip too?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I was supposed to go on a cruise in 2 weeks and I canceled the other day.
Oh, okay.
Good.
There are a lot of problems with
Well, and you know what? Carnival gave us 100% of our money back, including insurance.
Wow. That's
Good.
great.
Good.
So, and I didn't have to show any reason to cancel.
Good.
Where were
They-
you going, Nancy?
We were going to the Bahamas and I hadn't been on a Carnival cruise probably in 20 years. It was 30 ladies from where I live.
Oh
And
my
they
gosh.
organized this and they did it over a year and a half ago. And of course, we all thought, well, by then you can do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
where I live is just like every place else, you know, it's full of COVID and this and that. And I said, the worst thing if I am stuck in a room, my cabin for 8 days, I would be crazy.
It would be, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't do it, Nancy.
So,
I guarantee you.
It was really an inexpensive trip. And I said, if I don't get my money back, that's fine. But I ended up getting every penny.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Nice.
awesome.
And they said
Nice.
Carnival's
Supposed to
doing
go,
that
so-
because they want people to come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, well, that's good thinking.
Yeah.
It'll be a while now, I think.
Good.
So we'll see.
Okay, Jimmy. You keep up the good work on that music.
Yeah, I love that
Oh,
new
good music, Jimmy.
presentation. It was wonderful.
Mhm.
Good. I'll keep it up.
Keep it
Okay.
up. You don't get
Jim.
wet.
Thank you.
All right. So then
Hey,
you want to
Tom,
make it
thanks
the
a
next,
million.
the
Thanks, you
next
guys.
time you,
Everybody have a good week.
yeah.
Good
You
month.
too. You too,
Y'all
Bob.
too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Next time you want to make it like plan on being on from 3 to 5?
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
Okay.
All right. All right.
You know, cut it
You better
short.
be there, Rick.
I'll be here.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, take care, everybody. Great seeing
All
you.
right. Take care. all.
Okay.
Bye,
Everybody
all.
take care. Stay
Bye.
well. and Be
See you,
happy.
Gene.
See you, Jean.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Tom, hang on
Yeah.
before you hang up.
Okay.
This is the first, I got a new computer. All I see is one person at a time.
Okay.
Or I used to see the whole,
Yeah.
Okay.
you see
So on your
everybody.
computer, let's see, where would that be? Where is it that where it tells you screen participants? Where does it, where it tells
Hang
you,
on.
you want to do, what's that called?
never had a problem before.
It's not share screen. It's not that.
I've looked at settings, more,
Hang on.
It's
participants.
Yeah, you want to do, what the heck do they call that?
participants.
Try that. Let's see what that says.
Well, I did, and it's got,
Uh-uh,
right now
that's
it
not it.
says 2. That's all there is.
Huh. View,
All the
view.
two are you.
View.
I'm
Oh,
up
there it
there,
is.
right.
Okay,
View.
up in the top right-hand corner of your screen, is there a little, move your cursor up there and it says view. Click on view. And then it'll pop down a box. It should
I'm
pop
looking
down a,
here.
can you find view?
Upper right
No.
corner.
Upper right-hand corner. It's
Mhm.
got more, mute. Nothing that says view.
What, take your cursor and wipe it across there because it doesn't show all the time.
And by the way, what kind of a computer do you have?
Better an Apple, a Mac.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, it's
There's
an
your pro-
Apple.
there's your
Okay,
problem.
it's Apple. Okay.
Trash it.
You guys have the
Oh,
problem.
no, it just means that it's different.
No,
Okay, wait a minute. So your Apple may be more like what I would get on my iPad. So when I get out on my iPad, hang on. Let me go to that. Let's see, delete that, go out to video conferencing.
well, it lets you sign
Yeah.
in there. There you go. Meeting.
Webinars,
Meetings.
meetings. Zoom meeting is in progress. So Zoom meeting,
That's probably what you want right there.
yeah, Zoom meeting, join, open. Let's see if it'll let me in.
Sure.
There I am.
There
Let
you
me
are.
in. Okay, let me in.
Doesn't have to let you
Okay.
in.
Recording in progress.
Okay.
Well.
Now hang on a minute.
Hang on. Put that on mute.
I'm trying to. Hang on.
Mr. Computer Expert.
It should be. All right, hang on. You're.
You're gonna have to call him back. You're gonna have to call him back
Hang
and
on.
show him that.
Hang on. Hang on.
I like that echo.
Yeah, good.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to turn this thing off. There it goes. Okay. It should be up in the left-hand side. It's on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
And there should be, right now, it probably says speaker view. Is there one that says gallery view?
No.
No gallery.
In the upper left-hand corner of my screen, all it shows is a little green shield and a record.
Okay, drop down to the bottom left. What's it show?
Well, it shows mute, select a microphone, select a speaker. Stop video.
Oh, yeah.
FaceTime. Yep.